Hello, and welcome to Hedgehog Storytime, where I read our weird original fiction. The following story is part of the Edie Valley Project. Link to the playlist in the description below. Yes, you have to read them all. No, that is not a request. This story has been in development for way too fucking long. It's been a twinkle in the eye for a good portion of time. But it's finally here. It's finally here after years and years of waiting. You don't understand what that means. You will in a moment. So without further ado, this is Pilot.
Good morning, hi Lyndsi. I'm excited cause I'm starting a new odd job today. The goat on the sign has a smile on its face, and I'm off to work my life away for minimum wage. Oh boy, it's swell to say, good morning, USA. Wait, I think they forgot to change the line.
Good morning,
USA!
We find ourselves outside of Edie Valley's local Whamlart, a horrid cesspit of sadness and decay, as only a Midwestern Whamlart can be. But where, you ask, is our hero? Clarence is currently sitting on the curb directly outside of said Whamlart, dejected, depressed, and homeless. Next to him, the homeless man is living life, perfectly content, digging through the dumpster beside them.
I don't know how you can be so happy at a time like this. I mean, here we are, outside of Edie Valley's local Whamlart, a horrid cesspit of sadness and decay, as only a Midwestern Whamlart can be, and we're jobless. Homeless. I know! Isn't it wonderful? Well, can you keep your blind optimism down over there? I'm trying to sob.
Oh, Clarence. Every tear you shed crying is a tear that could have been spent laughing!
But how can I be laughing when all I've ever been, my entire identity, is gone? I was born a senior store manager. I spent my childhood being told what to do by a boss that makes more money in a week than I do in a year. What's left now that that's gone?
Yeesh, did you really?
Of course not. But it's all I daydreamed about in school.
Clarence proceeds to break down into disgusting tears. The homeless man sighs and hands him a paper bag.
Thanks, man. I've never been one to partake, but at this point I've got nothing to lose.
He takes a swig of the bottle inside the paper bag.
What was that? Alcohol tastes terrible.
Oh, there was something in there? I was passing you the bag because you were hyperventilating!
Peeking inside the bag, Clarence reaches in and is horrified to discover that what he just drank was actually a bottle of hand sanitizer.
Well, at the very least, this is the cleanest I've felt in a while.
Clarence stands up from the curb.
I just can't help feeling like my hopes and dreams have passed me by, and I await at life's bus stop in the pouring rain, wondering if there will ever be a day when I can once again don a plastic name tag and join the prestigious elite of the senior store managers. I mean, when would I ever get another opportunity like that ever again?
Oh my golly gosh goodness! I'd recognize that panicked lisp anywhere! Like, Clarence, is that you?
As he's been pontificating, Clarence has failed to notice the door sliding open behind him, only for a stunningly dim-witted blonde beauty to come charging through at top speed. Or as top speed as is possible with the sticky sliding door.
Lyndsi? You shop at Whamlart?
It's been so long! How have you been? Like, oh my god, the last time I saw you was like totally the day of the incident. You know, the one where the new guy, that guy with the dad bod, like blew up the entire grocery store? Like, that one we worked at together? That was like so crazy, right?
What is the point of calling it the incident when everyone just over-explains the incident in which Edie Groceries exploded and reminds me of it every time?
But Clarence, I've been trying so hard to get a hold of you. Why haven't you been picking up your phone?
The homeless life is hard, Lyndsi. I had to sell it.
To get us some of the good stuff.
Clarence, I can't believe this. I can't believe you've stooped so low. How could you sell your phone to buy 2.26 kilos of genuine authentic Mexican black tar heroin? But alas, such is the tragic way of the homeless.
The homeless man spits out the previously discarded hand sanitizer as Lyndsi places a hand delicately on her forehead, feeling faint.
Lyndsi, we were hungry and needed money for Subway.
Subway? That's even worse! Well, Clarence, long gone are your days of Subway sandwiches and various illicit substances.
No, just Subway.
'Cause, a place I know is totally hiring, and you'd be, so perfect for it.
Clarence perks up and grabs her hands, which are still somehow holding her bags of groceries.
Really? I could be a senior store manager again?
Oh, Clarence, don't be silly. This will be so much better than being a dumb old senior store manager. I go to this joint, all the time, and there are so many one-off characters. You love one-off characters. Remember how many there were at each?
Don't say it. My poor heart can't take it. But yes, I suppose it's time that Clarence broadened his horizons. Got a job. Settled down.
Then, what are we waiting for? Let's go, right now!
Lyndsi grabs him by the hand, groceries left to fall forlornly to the gum-covered concrete, and drags him after her. The homeless man, wiping a single tear from his twinkling eye, pulls the receipt from Lyndsi's discarded grocery bag, waving it princess style in their direction.
Au revoir, Clarence! Cry those laughing tears, and best of luck!
The homeless man collects the remaining grocery bags.
Well, these groceries will definitely go to waste, so I guess I better return them.
The homeless man enters the Whamlard, bags in hand, and as the door slowly and awkwardly closes behind him, let us take a moment to admire the giant sign that has been taped haphazardly to the plexiglass. Notice the bright colors, the professional font, the text that reads, "Now hiring, Senior Store Manager." Clarence has followed Lyndsi all the way to the bad part of town. Even in his current homeless state, Clarence would never even think of venturing to this hive of scum and villainy, but then again, Clarence is also a pussy.
Here we are! Your greener pastures await!
Clarence looks forlornly at the crumbling brick building in front of him with the flickering neon sign.
Lyndsi, I'm pretty sure I flew up on the run here.
Well, looks like you'll fit right in then.
Across the street, a man projectile vomits into the middle of the road. Alas, he didn't quite make it to the trash can that was literally 2 feet from him, though whether he even made the attempt or not is up for debate.
I don't know about this. I don't even know if I'm qualified. I'd probably need to change my clothes and... Oh God, I don't even want to know how long it's been since I've bathed.
Clarence, the 80 groceries fire was 2 days ago.
Jeez, really? Feels like it's been years. Exactly 4 years and some change.
That's continuity errors for you.
Well, I guess all that's left to lose is my dignity.
Then you have, nothing left to lose. Come on, just go in.
Clarence sighs, and together they walk over the threshold of the Smiling Goat. Because let's be honest, did you really expect anything else?
Wow, they definitely nailed the door sticking. It's very specific.
The Smiling Goat looks exactly as it always has. The bar, with a luxurious array of very fancy bottles, is to the right. The much more modest booths are positioned to the left. And towards the back is a curtain that leads to a mysterious location that Clarence doesn't know anything about, so obviously we don't either, right? The only noticeable difference is that the bar is entirely empty.
He must be in the back.
As if on cue, the curtain in the back is pushed to the side, and the tattooed bartender emerges from the darkness beyond, looking disheveled. Upon seeing two strangers in the middle of the bar, his face immediately turns red and he shuffles off to the bathroom without a word. Behind him, another man pokes his head out, and also, upon seeing two strangers in his bar, straightens and grins. He adjusts his glasses and tightens his dapper little bow tie.
Welcome to the Smiling Goat. Apologies for the empty bar. I was just, making some final preparations for a long trip I'll be taking.
He notices Lyndsi and immediately turns a little green.
Oh, here to drink half the bar again, Lyndsi. I'm afraid I might not quite have the stock at the moment.
He then notices Clarence, vomit stain and all.
Oh, well, it looks like you've got a little head start, mate, so hopefully I'll only have to make 2 grocery runs instead of 3.
Grocery.
Oh my, could this be the strapping young manager you've talked so much about?
Well, not that much. Within moderation, just a little.
Cowell begins pouring Lyndsi a drink, seeing as how the other bartender is currently indisposed.
Actually, and that's why we're here. Clarence, isn't exactly a senior store manager anymore.
Ah, you got sacked, huh? Well, a nice drink can always help soften the blow. What's your poison, friend?
He once again reaches for a glass.
The place exploded.
And promptly drops it.
Yeah, so, he's looking for a new, place of business. One that's less explodey. And I saw that the Smiling Goat was hiring, so...
Ah, right, the notice. It's only a temporary gig, mind you. You see, Tommy and I...
Right on cue, the other bartender, allegedly Tommy, walks out of the bathroom, only to see Cowell pointing at him. We don't even get a chance to see his face once again turning red before he turns on his heel and marches right back into the John without a word.
Tommy and I are going out of town for a rather long trip, so we need someone to watch over the old girl while we're away.
Gee, sir, I'd love to, but I don't have the necessary qualifications or training to bartend.
Oh my god, gag me with a spoon, you're too modest! He is such a good manager. Do you know the kind of people he had to deal with, every day? And also the customers?
I must say, I'm impressed. To manage all of that sounds like you'd have to stay as cool as a cucumber.
You know you want to say it, Clarence.
Which is exactly 41 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow, he is good.
Told you.
Sounds good enough for me. Job's yours, mate.
Really?
Well, any bloke who appreciates the sticky door is definitely apt to work at this drinking establishment. Worked very hard on that, I'll have you know.
Oh my gosh, thank you, sir. I won't let you down. Just let me know when I start and I'll be there.
Well, considering that we're leaving in about, 20 minutes, I'd say right about now. Although, maybe you should, wash up first. Bit rank, if you ask me. I've got a spare uniform in the back. Let me just pry Tommy boy out of the bathroom and we'll get you all set to go.
20 minutes later, and Clarence isn't feeling any more confident about this whole idea. He's really not used to wearing a bow tie. Cowell is currently running around doing who knows what, and Tommy is waiting for him at the bar. More than anything, Clarence hates feeling unprepared. And with no knowledge of mixing drinks, let alone drinking them, he makes an attempt at conversation with the strange gypsy man.
So, seeing as how I'm striking it out on my own for my first day, any pointers for the new guy?
Tommy opens his mouth to speak, but is interrupted by Cowell, who rushes out, pats Clarence on the back, and pushes Tommy out the door.
Well, best of luck. We really must be off. No time for tips, pointers, instructions, extraneous voice actors, etc. Toodaloo!
And with that, the front door closes behind them, and any remaining hope of Clarence learning anything before starting this job is gone. He finds himself alone with Lyndsi at the bar. Horrifying.
Don't worry, I'm somewhat of a mixologist myself, so I can at the very least give you some good tips.
So I can start making some good tips?
Lyndsi, while not leaving her seat, reaches over the top of the bar and grabs a bottle from behind the counter.
Any more jokes like that and I'm gonna need this.
Lyndsi grabs a few glasses and a shaker and sets them in front of Clarence. He stares at the two halves of the shaker like he has no idea how they go together.
So, how do you think you make a rum and coke?
Clarence panics, stuttering for a moment before hesitantly grabbing a jigger. After far longer than it reasonably should take one to make a rum and coke, he somehow manages to present a root beer float.
Okay, like, while that's mildly impressive, that's not a rum and coke.
She sighs and takes a sip of the root beer float anyway, out of sheer curiosity.
Gag me with a spoon, Clarence! How much booze did you put in this thing?
Which one's the booze again?
Oh, honey. Don't worry, you can always try again. I'll drink any mistakes you make so it doesn't go to waste. Now let's try to make the rum and coke again.
Lyndsi is plastered. Absolutely shit-faced. There are too many people in this bar, and Clarence is about one more loud noise away from a panic attack.
Hey! Hey, Clarence! Hey! How do you make a Tom Collins?
Is that a beverage or a customer?
How do you make a Tom Collins, clairvoyance?
I don't know! I've never made it past rum and coke!
Tom Collins! How do you make a Tom Collins?
Ah!
Adrenaline kicking in, Clarence goes full ultra instinct and begins serving customers as quickly as he can. Unfortunately, said superpowered overdrive does not give him the knowledge of what the drinks actually are. Lyndsi, meanwhile, has found herself on the rather sticky carpet. She slithers behind the bar, where she clumsily makes herself another drink. A perfect French 75. The noise level at the bar increases even further, as the clientele demand to know just where Cowell and Tommy are. Lyndsi is screaming as well, mostly just to feel included.
Clarence! OMG! Choke me with a fork! I'm so ducking white girl wasted!
I want to get white girl wasted too, but this fucker keeps getting my drinks wrong. I can't get drunk on a root beer float.
Why do I keep making root beer floats?
Did you ask for rum and coke?
Yeah, what of it?
Well, there's your problem.
Once again, Lyndsi finds herself on the floor. The burly man finds this significantly less funny. He turns back to Clarence and grabs him by his dapper little bow tie.
Listen here, buddy. I can buy and sell you. So if you're gonna make me one more goddamn root beer float, I'm gonna...
Hey, everyone! There's always that bar on the other side of town. I heard it's owned by this cool drifter from Arizona.
The bar quickly empties. In response to the sudden quiet, Lyndsi rises once more.
Hey, where's everybody going? The fun's just starting. We were just getting the arm wrestling pit going, and that guy owes me money!
She is attracted to the floor like a magnet. Clarence, left with a complete mess,
Woo!
and also a messy pub, collapses at the bar, head down on the counter. After a solid minute of silence, Lyndsi wobbly approaches.
What's wrong, Claire?
All I've done is screw things up for that very nice pub owner, who's probably done no misdeeds in his life. Now he's gonna come back to such failure. Gosh, I really can't do anything right. Unless it comes to groceries and grocery-adjacent management. I just feel so lost doing anything else, you know?
Lyndsi grabs his face and violently shakes it back and forth.
You are not a fuck or a failure. You are a cool guy who knows the exact temperatures of cukes. You just gotta keep trying until you find that other little thing that you're super duper good at.
Gradually, the shaking stops, and very slowly, Lyndsi collapses onto him with her face pressed against his chest.
Well, I can look on the bright side. At least I don't smell like vomit anymore.
Like, you didn't clean off that vomit very well this morning.
Well, better start cleaning this up. Who knows when Mr. Cowell will be back.
Of course, with the sense of timing that only he possesses, the door, sticking, of course, opens to reveal Cowell.
Honestly, I've no idea what I was expecting. So, what happened here, mates? Have a bit of a tornado incident, perhaps? Very localized, those tornadoes.
Mr. Cowell, sir! I thought this would be a long trip. Back so soon?
Well, it felt like an entire bloody arc to me.
Claire Bear only made bear floats. Can't even make a rum and cock.
This place hasn't been in this big of a mess since the mafioso incident. Remember the mafioso incident? Anyone? No? Just me? Less bullet holes for sure, though many more non-alcoholic beverages than I'd like.
No, they're definitely alcoholic. Frankly, I'm not sure how I did it myself. But I definitely felt I was improving throughout the shift. Really think I can nail it tomorrow.
Tomorrow? A rib tickler that one tomorrow. Oh, get out.
Clarence slumps his shoulders, and with one more dejected look back, begins to shuffle out of the bar.
No, Cubo! Don't return to your life on the street with the genuine, authentic 6.22 kilos of Mexican black tar heroin.
It was just a $5 footlong!
Yeesh, resorting to Subway of all things. Tell you what, mate. I've got some available housing above the old pub. Been meaning to clean it out and rent again, but really just haven't found the time. You can stay in there amidst its many stains and yellow tape.
Well, gee, Mr. Cowell, sir. That's a really kind offer.
Please, Mr. Cowell, sir, was my father. Call me Cowell.
Oh, really?
No, not at all. Not quite sure I even have one of those.
But without a job and my complete inability to maintain one, I don't know if I'd be good for the rent.
Well, I suppose I could make an exception. The place is yours, free of charge, but just promise me 2 little things.
Anything!
Number 1, tidy up the place, would you? Partially for your own sake. And number 2, promise you'll never ever attempt to work as a bartender at the Smiling Goat ever again. I mean, like, ever again. As in no canon will you work here ever again.
It's a deal!
Then shake on it.
They shake hands, and Cowell winks.
You're really not hesitant to make a deal with a stranger, are you?
Well, I mean, that's how I got my old job. Just a handshake and... Well, I don't quite remember the rest, but it got me to where I am today.
No kidding.
Clarence, after thanking Cowell exactly 27 times, finally walks a barely functional Lyndsi up to his room to ensure her well-being. He thanks Cowell for a solid 28th time before removing the yellow tape and plastic sheet covering the door. Beyond the threshold, the apartment is dark and gray, but most of all small, with a tiny kitchen in the back corner and one singular window opposite it. Behind him, there is an enormous stain that covers the door from top to bottom. Clarence also can't help noticing a small piece of duct tape covering an odd vertical slit in its center.
Ah, the smell of new beginnings. And murder, maybe.
So you might be wondering what you just watched as the patrons go by over the credits, especially if you're on Spotify, because there's no context for this. So this is a continuation of an old thing that myself and Drag0n and a couple of friends of ours did called Meet the Jamesons. Meet the Jamesons is no longer in production and can no longer be in production for certain silly, stupid reasons. But Drag0n and I decided that we wanted to bring Clarence and Lyndsi back because we loved them dearly. So if you're looking for some context as to who Clarence is and who Lyndsi is and what all this shit is, go to the YouTube channel and look up Meet the Jamesons, and you will soon discover how fucking terrible it is. Anyway, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all next time. Farewell.
Also, if anyone is hiring for a senior store manager position in the Edie Valley area, please, you have my number. It is 518